Today, we are going to discuss about how the Europeans moved to America. The migration of Europeans to America is one of the most significant events in world history. It began with the Norse expeditions in the 10th century and escalated dramatically with the Age of Exploration in the late 15th century, leading to widespread European colonization of the Americas. This movement not only reshaped the demographic, cultural, and political landscapes of the Americas, but also had profound impacts on Europe and the world at large. Understanding how Europeans moved to America involves examining the motivations behind their journeys, the processes they underwent, the interactions with indigenous peoples, and the long-term consequences of their settlement. The story of European migration to America is multifaceted, involving a variety of actors, including explorers, settlers, indigenous populations, and enslaved Africans. Each group played a crucial role in shaping the history of the continent. This essay will explore the early explorations that paved the way for migration, the various motivations driving Europeans to leave their homelands, the establishment and development of colonies, and the interactions with native populations. Additionally, it will delve into the broader impacts of this migration on both the Americas and Europe. The first known Europeans to set foot in North America were the Norse, led by Leif Erikson around the year 1000. These early explorations, although not leading to permanent settlements, demonstrated the navigational skills and adventurous spirit of the Norse. However, it was not until the late 15th century that European exploration truly began to change the world. Christopher Columbus's voyages in 1492, sponsored by Spain, marked the beginning of a new era of exploration and colonization. Columbus's discovery of the New World, although initially perceived as a route to Asia, opened the floodgates for further expeditions. This period, known as the Age of Exploration, saw numerous European powers, including Spain, Portugal, France, and England, embark on ambitious voyages across the Atlantic. The motivations behind European migration to America were diverse and complex. Economic factors played a significant role, as many Europeans were driven by the promise of wealth and resources. The discovery of gold, silver, and other valuable commodities in the Americas fueled a rush for riches. Additionally, the establishment of new trade routes and markets was seen as a way to enhance national wealth and power. Religious factors were equally influential. Many Europeans sought to escape religious persecution or sought the opportunity to spread Christianity. The Protestant Reformation and subsequent religious conflicts in Europe made the New World an attractive destination for those seeking religious freedom or the chance to evangelize. Political factors also contributed to migration. European nations saw colonization as a way to expand their influence and power. Establishing colonies provided strategic advantages and was often driven by competition among European powers. The Spanish were among the first to establish permanent settlements in the Americas. St. Augustine in Florida, founded in 1565, is the oldest continuously inhabited European established settlement in the continental United States. The Spanish also established significant colonies in Central and South America, including Mexico and Peru, which became centers of wealth and power. The French, too, made their mark, with settlements in Quebec and Louisiana. The French focused on fur trading and built alliances with indigenous peoples, which helped them establish a foothold in North America. The English began their colonization efforts later, with the establishment of Jamestown in 1607 and the Pilgrim settlement in Plymouth in 1620. These early English colonies faced significant challenges, including harsh conditions, conflict with indigenous peoples, and internal strife, but they eventually grew and prospered. The journey across the Atlantic was fraught with peril. Early settlers faced long and dangerous voyages on ships that were often overcrowded and unsanitary. Many perished during the journey due to disease, malnutrition, and harsh weather conditions. Despite these challenges, the promise of a new life and opportunities drove thousands to undertake the journey. The arrival of Europeans had profound effects on the indigenous peoples of the Americas. Early encounters were a mix of cooperation and conflict. Trade between Europeans and Native Americans introduced new goods and technologies to both cultures. However, the spread of diseases to which indigenous peoples had no immunity resulted in catastrophic population declines. Conflict was also inevitable as Europeans sought to expand their territories. Land disputes, resource competition, and cultural misunderstandings often led to violent confrontations. Over time, the balance of power shifted overwhelmingly in favor of the Europeans, leading to the displacement and subjugation of many indigenous communities. As European colonies grew, they developed distinct economies and societies. The Spanish and Portuguese established large plantations and mining operations, relying heavily on enslaved African labor. The French focused on fur trading and built a network of alliances with indigenous peoples. The English colonies developed diverse economies, including agriculture, trade, and manufacturing. Colonial societies were characterized by a mix of cultures and classes. European settlers, indigenous peoples, and enslaved Africans contributed to a complex social hierarchy. The blending of cultures led to the development of unique colonial identities. Resistance to European colonization came from multiple quarters. Indigenous peoples resisted European encroachment through both diplomatic and military means. Enslaved Africans also resisted their captivity through rebellion and the formation of maroon communities. The European colonies themselves were not immune to unrest. The desire for independence and self-governance grew over time, leading to revolutions such as the American Revolution. These movements were driven by a combination of economic, political, and ideological factors and had far-reaching impacts on global history. The colonization of the Americas had significant repercussions for Europe. Economically, the influx of wealth from the colonies fueled growth and development. New foods and products, such as potatoes, maize, and tobacco, transformed European diets and economies. Socially and culturally, the contact with the New World expanded European horizons and led to an exchange of ideas and knowledge. However, the colonization process also brought about moral and ethical questions, particularly regarding the treatment of indigenous peoples and the practice of slavery. Politically, the competition for colonies and resources intensified rivalries among European powers. The struggle for dominance in the Americas was a key factor in the broader geopolitical conflicts of the era. The legacy of European migration to America is vast and complex. The demographic changes brought about by the influx of European settlers, the displacement of indigenous populations, and the forced migration of African slaves have had lasting impacts on the Americas' population and culture. The colonization of the Americas also had long-term global impacts. It facilitated the spread of European culture, language, and institutions, shaping the modern world. However, it also led to significant suffering and displacement for many indigenous and African peoples. Modern perspectives on European migration to America are often shaped by a recognition of both the achievements and the injustices of this period. Understanding this history is crucial for addressing contemporary issues related to race, identity, and cultural heritage. The migration of Europeans to America was a complex and transformative process that reshaped the world. Driven by a mix of economic, religious, and political motivations, Europeans undertook perilous journeys to establish new lives in the New World. Their interactions with indigenous peoples, the development of colonies, and the resistance movements that arose all contributed to the rich and multifaceted history of this period. The legacy of European migration to America continues to influence global history, highlighting the interconnectedness of our world and the enduring impacts of past actions.